is a little bit riskier of a play than when I first got into it. What's going on YouTube? Taylor Prentice back here with another video. And as you guys know, the stock market has been a little crazy lately, and Meta, better known as Facebook, reported earnings yesterday, and they were kind of scary. As someone who is a shareholder of Facebook or Meta, whatever you want to call it, it was just not the most promising and not something you want to see from like a mega cap, super high growth company. So I just want to kind of dive into all the negative things and kind of give you my outlook for Facebook or Meta for 2022 and where I think they're going to end up by the end of the year. And take everything I say with a grain of salt. Like I said, I am a shareholder, so I am a little biased. So do your own research and don't go off of what some YouTuber says. Make sure you feel like highly convicted when you're doing something, and to feel highly convicted you have to do the proper research. So I highly recommend, rather than you just listening to somebody, you make sure that you're taking all the proper steps to feel confident with where you're putting your money. Right now, Facebook kind of seems a little bit riskier. They're kind of pivoting their business, definitely changing their business model up a little bit, and I'll kind of dive into that later in the video. But let's just go ahead and start off with the bad news. So Facebook stock has dropped like 30%. It started yesterday's after hours, like after they reported earnings, and that was because they missed on earnings per share. And they also reported some numbers like daily and monthly users. They actually increased, but they didn't increase as much as they had projected. So that's like another area that they had kind of missed on numbers. There's just a lot of like small areas where they had little misses that just kind of added up and made for a bad sentiment. But really the worst thing that happened in the earnings report was they released their projections for the first quarter of 2022. They projected 3 to 11% growth, which I was expecting somewhere like 20%. It kind of makes sense, and I'll get into this a little later, but you definitely want to see at least like 15 to 20% from a company like Facebook. I feel like that was kind of expected. So them coming out and saying they're only expecting 3 to 11% growth was kind of jarring for not only Facebook holders, but it seems like the whole stock market in general. Today, everything is pretty much down. We had some of the other like mega cap companies just not have the greatest numbers. Obviously, like Apple and Tesla did really well, but you had like Netflix did really bad. So the big tech sector is kind of in a crucial point. We'll see where Amazon comes in. Hopefully they do well. Hopefully they can kind of like keep the market up. Obviously it seemed like Apple kind of saved the market, so it'll be interesting to see what effects those have on the broader market. But getting back to just talking about Facebook, the main reason that they're projecting like smaller or just less growth for the first quarter is because of iOS implementing like new regulations on privacy and stuff like that. So it's becoming harder and more expensive for Facebook to create better ads, not only just to create the ads, but to collect the data and to make better ads for smaller companies and stuff, because that's where a lot of the profit for Facebook is smaller brands or businesses using Facebook's advertising, which is another reason why things may not be so good. Obviously, you have the Rona and the economy is just not really in the best spot right now. So small businesses are definitely struggling, so they're not able to spend as much on ads. So there's just a lot accumulating for the first period of 2022 to not be so great for them. And also they're going away from how they've traditionally looked to monetize on Instagram. So as you can tell, like TikTok has been one of their main competitors, and just short form content. You got like YouTube shorts and stuff like that is kind of battling against Instagram. So Instagram has been spending a lot of money on Reels and trying to get that to be like the main thing that Instagram is known for, because that's where Zuckerberg really thinks that the majority of people will like consume content is just shorter form content, which I tend to agree with them. You have people that sit on TikTok like all day and watch a million videos. You don't really see people like, I mean, you see people on Instagram a lot, but I feel like TikTok users are a lot more addicted or whatever. So I think he's correct in trying to attack that shorter form content, because I think that'll pay off long term, like he was saying. But in the short term, he was explaining in the conference call that they're just not able to monetize it as well yet. So I think over time they'll figure it out. It seems like, I mean, they're obviously smart enough to do it, but it'll be interesting to see, because like usually I feel like people who are on Instagram aren't really looking to do stuff with audio. A lot of times I feel like people are just like scrolling through, looking at pictures, like when they're in the car with their family, or just like in situations where you can't really play audio. But obviously people find the time to watch TikTok, so I think it'll be interesting to see the growth of Reels, and if Facebook or Meta is able to execute very well on that, and to see how that growth is over time, because it seems like they're putting a lot of their marbles in that as far as Instagram goes. And I personally do think that's the right approach, because I think that's where kind of social media is going, especially like younger kids. I feel like it kind of sucks because it just seems like they have shorter attention spans, but it does seem like that's where things are going. Obviously TikTok is huge. I saw some stat about how many kids like under a certain age use TikTok. I forget what it was, but it was just a crazy stat to see. So I'm sure those kids are already on Instagram, and once that feature gets implemented, they'll start to use it more. It was kind of like when Facebook got stories, and that kind of stopped me from using like Snapchat and stuff, because why would you use multiple apps to do something that you could have all in one app? So I think they're taking the right approach there. I think they'll be able to monetize it by the end of the year in a better way. I'm not sure like what that means. Obviously all that stuff is way over my head as just a consumer and like a user of their apps. But I do think they'll be able to execute on that, and I do think long term that'll pay off. So like I had mentioned earlier in the video, Meta is looking to kind of make a pivot with their business. Obviously they did that kind of with the name change from Facebook to Meta, and obviously they're going after the metaverse, so it's going to take some money. Another place where Facebook has been spending a lot of money is with Reality Labs, which is to help them build out their idea of the metaverse. And like they've said, it's going to take other companies and stuff. So this is a very long-term like investment, I think. And I think it will probably scare a lot of the Facebook, like traditional Facebook investors away before it was Meta, but I also think it'll attract a lot of new Meta investors. You have like the people who are really into all the decentralized stuff kind of scared that Facebook will be the ones to kind of put it in motion, because obviously they would like it more centralized and would want to profit off of it through stuff like ads and collecting data, which you have like this whole segment of people who don't believe that's what Web3 is about. They believe it's about segregation and kind of separating ourselves from these large corporations and just protecting our data and stuff like that. I feel like for the majority of people who aren't so far into the like crypto world and Web3, I think for a lot of people they're gonna need something that they're comfortable with to kind of get them into the metaverse and get them comfortable with like crypto and using crypto to buy stuff. And I think Facebook, Meta, whatever, will be the company that's able to accomplish that and just make it more of a normal thing for people to experience the metaverse. So I'm really bullish on this for them. They haven't stated a clear path of how they're going to monetize, but I think Zuckerberg is obviously a super smart guy, and I kind of am trusting where he's going with the company. I think we might continue to see struggles throughout 2022, but I obviously think this stock will be higher at the end of 2022 than it is now. That's why I bought a share when it dropped 20%. If it continues to drop, I'll continue to buy more. Yeah, it'll just be really interesting to see where this next couple years is for them, because it's definitely a pivotal point in their business, because they are getting away from just focusing on like their traditional ad and social media websites and apps. It looks like they're getting really into AI and just building out the metaverse. They're actually working on building like a supercomputer. So if they're able to do that, they projected by mid 2022 that'll be in effect. If they're able to do that, it could be, they acted like it would be like one of the strongest computers ever made. So that could be really big for them. Obviously, I'm not really sure what all goes into that technology and like what comes out of it and how soon they'll be able to monetize it. But I think they've got so much cash on hand, and they've been profitable for so long. I think this is just a small hiccup as they get adjusted to Apple's regulations and continue to grow out the metaverse and selling Oculus and more AR products. I think they'll just continue to grow. So that's my outlook. I know a lot of people have been selling out, obviously, and a lot of the headlines look really scary, but they still grew like 37% year over year. So I'm willing to say that they'll be okay. Obviously, the projections for this quarter, not what you want to see. But with that being said, a lot of companies right now are projecting bad earnings for the first quarter of 2022. Just the economic times we're in are not ideal for companies to thrive. It'll be interesting to see where everything goes. But like I said, I'm bullish on it. I think it'll be okay. I think these next couple of quarters, like these next 4 to 8 quarters, so like really just the next 2 years, are really important for Meta, and I think it is a little bit riskier of a play than when I first got into it, just how the business model has changed, and I think in the long term that'll pay off. So who knows if I'll be right, but that's my outlook. I don't think Facebook is doomed. I think they do have some serious issues, short-term issues that they'll be able to tackle and get past, but I think long-term they're doing all the things to set them up for success, and I am a long-term investor, so no matter what the price does in the short term, I'm not gonna like panic sell. Like, I've been up over Facebook ever since I've got into it, so why would I sell the second that I go down? Wouldn't make any sense. I still will be buying a couple of shares if I can. Right now I'm running low on cash, like I said, but I definitely am looking to buy more and am still bullish on Facebook. So yeah, hopefully I'm right. But if you guys made it to this point, I really appreciate it. If you want a free stock, I've got a Robinhood link down below, and I've also got a Coinbase link down below if you're looking to get into crypto. Some people say crypto is like a hedge against the stock market. I don't really think it is. I kind of think they kind of move similarly, but I think it's always a good idea to get free stuff. So definitely check out that stock link, and definitely check out that free Coinbase link. I think it's like $5 or $10 worth of Bitcoin, so nothing too crazy, but better than nothing. And hopefully it'll get you started kind of investing into crypto and just learning more about it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you made it to this point, I really appreciate it. If you could hit that like and subscribe, that would be awesome. And I will see you next time. Have a good one.